Internet. It is Thursday, the 2nd of February, 2017. No prizes for guessing where I am. Later on, I'm meeting up with Nicholas Cole and some thrill seekers, and we're off to the launch of the Olympus OMD E-M1 Mark II. That's happening tonight in the Hotel CBD in the city. So I came down here because I love it down here. Look what's close to us. We got the Opera House, and we got that epic bridge up there. It's the perfect place to crack open a homie. Cheers. It's got to be probably the most scenic place to crack open a home brew. My feet are literally dangling in the harbor. Not literally, they're not touching, but you know what I mean. The beauty of this spot is that it's so close to everything, but no one really comes out here. It looks like you're not supposed to be out here. Like, if you look at that, I'm sitting on a piece of concrete that's for a sign for the boats. Tourists go to like that spot there and that spot there, but they never come out onto this little bit of concrete. Whenever I come here, I'm always coming out here. What? That doesn't make sense. Whenever I come here, I'm always coming out here. And I'm getting pretty psyched for this OMD E-M1 Mark II launch tonight, particularly for the video capabilities of this thing. This thing's gonna have 5-axis stabilization for video. It also shoots in cinema 4K, which is 4096 pixels wide, slightly wider than ultra, what they call Ultra HD, which is 4K, which is what everything is at the moment. But cinema 4K just gives you that little bit of extra to play with. And it's also got a massive bit rate, so it's like 237, I think, megabits per second. So that is a really clean, high bit rate, uncompressed 4K signal. I'm really keen to see this thing. I don't shoot Olympus, as you know. I'm shooting Sony RX10 Mark II, 100 megabits, which is nothing compared to 237. I've been shooting this for some time. I'm really looking forward to making a swap, and if this does what I think it does, it'd be very tempting not to jump ships and jump on the Olympus bandwagon. Before we go up there though, it is NSD. This is a particularly old Tracer t-shirt. In fact, it's one of the first Tracer t-shirts, so I don't think many Tracer fans would have it unless they're Tracer fans that live in Adelaide that are closely connected to the band, and they've managed to pick one of these up from way back. But this is one of the original Tracer t-shirts, and so I am going to throw to an old Tracer video. This is from 2011. This is in Glasgow, and this is when Lee was in the band. So all you new-ish Tracer fans, you might not have known that Mike's brother Lee was the bass player in the original formation of the band. So this is when he was in the band, and it's a really funny clip because they're about to perform Louder Than This at King Tut's Wah Wah Hut for those playing in Scotland. As they start playing it, Mike makes a step and pulls out his guitar lead, so his guitar just dies. Everyone has a bit of a giggle, particularly Lee. He's all sort of like, oh yeah, that's a dick maneuver. He goes to take the vocal because he sings on that song. He completely messes up his lines. If you were there, you probably didn't notice it because he did the melody correctly, but he completely ruined his lines and he covered it up, and then he kind of looked around like, did anyone catch that? So check this out. Lee Brown, original bass player in Tracer, getting karma served to him in King Tut's Wah Wah Hut, 2011, Tracer in Scotland, Glasgow, NSD.
We're playing a little song now off our CD that we're touring at the moment. It's called Louder Than This. Yeah. Come see it. You buy a CD and then we can eat. So you see, I haven't eaten in years. That's really gonna ruin shit.
Wow.
right here, you want to do a time lapse with your iPad? Great idea, but how are you going to hold the iPad? I'm glad you asked. You see this? And you see this? That's 2 parts to a machine. The machine is the Joby GripTight Pro tablet, and I am giving one of these away on my channel the moment we hit 500 subs, and I think we're at 430-ish, 435 now. We get to 500. One of you lucky souls gets a brand new one of these, courtesy of Joby via Gives a Minute. What is it? How does it work? Let me show you. So there's the 2 pieces like I showed you before. One of them goes in the other one like that, just screws in nicely. Then you have a little section here which you can loosen. Once you've loosened that, this whole thing becomes loose, not surprisingly. And in that space, put an iPad. So screw it back down. That's pretty much it. Then you have a perfect handheld if you want to vlog, or put it on the ground for a time lapse. This is the Joby GripTight Pro tablet, and I'm giving one away when we get to 500 subs. One of you lucky chaps or chapettes will get this, not this one, a brand new one. Do the best you can to share my channel and we'll get there soon. Here's how I'm using the Joby GripTight Pro tablet for my time lapse on this scenic location. And to be honest with you, I don't know if it's going to be a very good time lapse. It's in a pretty sketchy position. It's also a bit windy right here. That's why I've wedged it up against this piece of timber. But either way, I'm going to show you what it looks like, because I want you to know that these Joby GripTight Pro tablets are great, yet you can't stop wind. You can minimize it by wedging it against something like I have. I'll put the time lapse in right here to prove it to you. Well, I'm here. No one else is yet though. This is the location. I'm an hour early. Didn't intend it, but the way it happened. Coming early does have its benefits though. Here's Cole. Cole, nice to meet you, man. He happens to have little baby right in his hands right now.
The camera with the lens. This is the new 12-100 constant f4. So it gives you equivalent zoom of a 24-200, the ultimate travel camera.
Fantastic.
Do you think about it?
Can I feel how heavy it is?
Sure.
In terms of
So the lens itself, is just over half a kilo.
Right.
And so is the body. So you're looking at just over a kilo.
Yeah, that's great. And battery life?
Battery life vastly improved from the old camera.
Really?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So a bigger battery with
That's always a problem with these guys. Sony, terrible battery life.
bigger battery with a faster charge. We've managed to tweak the camera so it uses less energy.
I am so excited for this, for the video capabilities.
In this camera is fantastic Full HD, which is what most people are going to use. But those people who need 4K, or especially cinema 4K, you at cinema 4K all into compression, 237 megabits per second.
Did you hear that?
And the auto focusing, the auto exposure, going from for example, inside straight to an outside.
Oh, really?
The auto change in exposure is fantastic.
Have a look at this for auto exposure change from a dark to a light scene. Check this out. Wow. Whoa. It might have been a little bit hard to see on this camera, on that camera's display, but that changed from this lounge to outside perfectly.
Man. And also notice walking towards the window, there was no camera shake.
There was none at all, yeah. It's 5 axis, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 5 axis, but with this lens you get 6.5 stops of stabilization. Damn. So 5.5 on the body. With the 300 f4 you get 6 stops of stabilization, and with this 12-100 you get an extra stops, so extra half stops. You got 6.5 stops.
I've got none here, none at all. Anything's better than none. 6.5 is incredible. Look who's here. Thrill seeker himself.
What's cracking?
How are you, Nick?
Yeah, good, man.
How are you, Claire?
I'm good.
That looks nice. Nick's about to get hands on right now. Look at this.
Look at this. I get one of these. So this is the aforementioned camera. I don't remember the name of it. I know it's long, but you guys know I'm the Micro Four Thirds guy, so I should probably know this.
I'm getting out of the background.
Take it away.
Good evening. Hi. This is the OMD E-M1 Mark II, which is our new flagship camera.
Now I've already heard this before from Carl himself, so just know that he's salivating as much as I am right now. There's definitely a lot more people here now. Looks like the presentation is just about ready to start as well.
So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the E-M1 Mark II. Epic, isn't it? So guys, what I'd like to do tonight is elaborate on those 3 key points that we discussed a little bit earlier. So high-speed performance, mobility, and also improvements and excellence in image quality. So again, there's that newly developed 20 megapixel sensor which has already enhanced our baseline resolution. 5-axis image stabilizer has pushed the boundaries of handheld photography once again. But again, that quad-core processor is doing such a great job of driving and operating the camera at every single individual level. Apart from that, guys, look, that's it from me. Thank you very much for attending this evening, and please, if you have any questions, stop around the room. Thank you.
After seeing that presentation and having some hands-on and having Carl talk about the camera and Ashley talk about the camera and some of the functions, definitely want to get one for this vlog. But at the moment, I'd just love a loaner and see if I can test this out. I've got a little project coming up that I haven't mentioned to anyone in the vlog yet. I'm going to Fiji in June. No one's really vlogging with this camera yet, so maybe I've got a little bit of a market there to grab onto. So I was talking to the Olympus crew. Turns out I can stick my SD card into the body of this brand new OMD E-M1 Mark II and get some vlogging of my own tonight. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh, that's we're out of time! Thanks for checking out my YouTube channel called Gives a Minute. If you liked it, please subscribe. If you're a photographer, check out my Lightroom 6 presets. Check out the previous minute there, a random minute there. Hey, it's not raining in here. That was